guys, this is Sharad with REsimpli. I have Steve Stimson on this call here. He's been using REsimpli for a little bit now, and I wanted to bring him on, talk about his experience. He has a very unique experience coming from a franchise model to being an independent investor. Steve, thank you so much for being on the call. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? What market do you invest in, and how long have you been investing for?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sharad. I appreciate it. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've been investing now for about 15 years. I've got a small rental portfolio. I've got some owner finance notes. I've done some multifamily syndication investing. So I like to dabble in quite a few things. Single family has really been my bread and butter. And like you said, I came from a franchise model and left that last year and started my own business, created my own brand and my website, hired a VA, and needed a CRM, obviously, to replace what I had at that previous position. And those were all very kind of daunting and scary tasks for me that I never thought I could do or wanted to do. But for various reasons, I needed to do it. It made business sense for me to just take the leap and do it. I searched for multiple CRMs for a few months and finally landed on REsimpli, and I'm really glad I did because it turned out to be exactly what I was looking for with everything in one place. The help has been astounding. I get help on the spot whenever I need it. My VA does too. So it's been really beneficial, and a scary concept of leaving a franchise model and jumping out and doing it myself became a lot less scary by having the support and help of a good CRM like REsimpli.
Certainly. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, for you, but typically when we talk to investors, they basically have the same business model, but they're just switching from their previous CRM to REsimpli. But for you, you switched changed the business model from going from a franchise model to being independent and then having to change the systems and processes also. What made you choose REsimpli over, you said there's like dozens of CRMs out there. Like what made you choose REsimpli?
It seemed to me like a lot of the other CRMs they had plugins and they had multiple vendors that you had to utilize to plug into their system. And I come from an IT background. I did IT development and testing and various things in IT for a long time. And I just know that when you continually add separate external and externally developed pieces from other vendors into one, there's a lot of room for error and complication. And anytime one vendor makes an update to any little piece, the API could break and it could mess up all sorts of things. And there were a lot of complications with how multiple pieces had to be glued together to get the CRM to work. And for me, I was just looking for something that was mostly all in one. I know you've got some partnerships and things in REsimpli too, but not to the extent of what I saw with some of the other ones. They just were, it was like putting a quilt together with all these little pieces.
Right.
The functionality wasn't good, the help wasn't good, and that aspect of it wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, the way we have built is like we, of course, have a bunch of integration on the back end, but the way we build it is we take care of all the integration that you don't have to worry about, and you just log in and then start using. Like our philosophy is you should just need one login for the software and then don't have to go into this software to do this, other software to do this. And then before you know, you have like 5, 6, 7 different subscriptions that you're paying for, which you thought originally, like we have investors that get like free Podio account. And then before they know it, it ends up like, you got to get a dialer, you got to get a website, you got to get this, and then it ends up being so expensive. And then more importantly, that these don't speak with each other as well as everything that's natively built in one. So yeah, and thank you for sharing that. Tell me a little bit about kind of what was your onboarding process like for you and your VA when you started? Just if you can walk me through a little bit with that.
Yeah, so I hired my VA about a year ago. I think last week was a year. And at that time, we didn't have a CRM. We were still looking around, and there were a couple others I was considering, but they just didn't work out. And so we went, I guess about 4 or 5 months with nothing while I was in discovery mode, and then finally came across REsimpli. So once we did, the biggest thing for me was I wanted something that I could easily. I felt like I needed to learn it to some degree first before I even introduced it to my VA, because she was busy doing other stuff, and I didn't want to clutter things up for her on something that we may not have even used. So I spent about maybe a month just learning it myself to the best of my ability, and so that I could at least hand it off to her, but also knowing that I wanted to be able to show her how I wanted to use it for our business, but I also knew that I wanted her to be able to lean on help to ask questions too. I didn't want her coming to me for all the questions. I wanted to be able to help answer the initial things and how I want us to use it. But I wanted her to be able to get like on the Zoom call, the live Zoom call, or do a chat and get some answers. So it was really important for me to know that it was easy for her to learn and also to continue to learn on her own without me in the middle. And it has been. She's been able to utilize help quite a bit. She's asked questions. She's been interactive with support, and they've helped her learn some things. She knows a few things I don't know now because she uses it all the
Perfect.
time. And I use it in different ways, and she uses it in certain ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Like your involvement in the business is going to be as an owner, your VA is going to be for a specific task that you're doing. So, yeah, I mean, we make sure we train our support team to understand who is asking the question and what is the intent of the questions, right? And then if they may be something for you as the owner to look at the KPI behind kind of what's happening in the business to get a little bit more insight into the business. So, of all the features that we have in REsimpli, is there a particular feature or a couple of features that stand out to you that you find the most value from?
Well, immediately in my business, the biggest value I found was in the drip campaigns. I had some degree of drip campaigns in my previous franchise model, but they were very restricted and they weren't very good, in all honesty. And so having the control over those and being able to set up the frequency and what I want to say in them and everything about them, that's been huge for me. I want to make sure that I'm not leaning too heavily on that, because I understand I can't run a whole business just on sending texts and emails. But it's gotten me some contracts. It's gotten me quite a few leads.
Nice.
And I think the other thing I'm really excited about is the AI. I mean, obviously the AI for incoming calls and future outbound calls. That I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're excited about the AI updates we have coming out also. We're being very intentional about the stuff that we're working on, and nothing is like gimmicky, and it's the stuff that's actually going to move the needle in your business. So yeah, I can't wait to start unveiling those. So Steve, like what are your future goals? Let's say like 6, 12 months or 2 years down the road, like what are your goals and how do you see like REsimpli being a part of helping you achieve those goals?
Yeah, so my goals now are not to have a big team or a big group. That's not what I've ever really wanted to do. Like I said, I worked IT for about 20 years. I've managed big teams and I've been there, done that. That's not my desire. Currently this year, my goal is to buy 2 houses a month. If I can buy more, that's great, but my goal is two a month. I have a rental portfolio. I'd like to grow that, over time. The lending picture is a little challenging sometimes, but depending on what's going on in the market, I'd like to grow that. I want to grow more wealth. I want to have more wealth to invest in other things. There's other syndication deals that have been brought to me that I'm really excited about, but I haven't had the resources to invest in those, and I have missed opportunities there that I'd love to be invested in. So I ultimately want to continue to build a portfolio and build wealth. We're pretty much a three-person show. It's me and my wife and my VA, and that's about all I want right now. I just want to have a consistent business and prosper. And if it becomes more than 2 contracts a month, that's great. I'll take it as it comes.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, 2 contracts a month in the Dallas market, I think it equates to like 4 or 5 contracts in the Midwest market where I invest. So it's
Yeah,
like I know like how competitive. We have a few investors in Dallas market. I know how competitive that market is. It's insane.
yeah.
Steve, is there anything particular about REsimpli you think that makes it unique compared to, you looked at like a handful of other softwares out there?
I think that really the biggest thing is having everything in one place, that single login. And like I said, I know you're utilizing things on the back end. I understand the development side of it. So I know there's things going on behind the scenes. But as the front end user, I don't have to concern myself with those so much. I don't have to worry about plugging in all those other pieces and worrying about APIs getting broken and things like that. For me, simplicity is key, and that was hard to find in pretty much every other CRM that I looked at. They were, I don't know. I've designed a lot of websites and coded a lot of websites and tested them, and I know good design when I see it, and I know bad design when I see it. And so many of these programs have just bad design, bad functionality. They don't have good I don't know. It feels like a lot of them weren't even vetted through a business administrator and tested through a
Right.
QA team. Some of them are
Yeah.
really bad. They really
Right.
are.
It's easy. I mean, you come from IT background. I'm sure you'll agree. Like it's easy to create something complicated, but it's very hard to create that very uh, like robust on the back end, but very simple to use on the front end. I think that's a very challenging thing to do that doesn't get appreciated enough.
It's a huge challenge. I can tell when something wasn't vetted, like I said, through a business administrator and passed on to a quality assurance team, because
Right.
those are the guys that keep the developers in check. The
Right.
developers have very complex and complicated ideas, and they know what they're doing. I've been on that side too. But the BA and the QA are the ones that turn it into
Absolutely.
usable functionality for regular people who don't know anything about IT. And that's a
Absolutely.
challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't even know. I don't come from IT background. I come from a business background. I'm a real estate investor. I didn't even appreciate all these like different like BA and a QA person until we got deeper into it. We made more than our fair share of mistakes initially. We thought, hey, developers created it must be good. Rolled it out like, oh wow, there's all these things going on. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
learned over the years. Yeah, a thing or two about that. What would you say to someone who's listening to this and is on the fence about using REsimpli in their business?
Well, I would say if you're trying to run your own real estate investment business, you have to have a CRM. Unless you're not serious about your business, you can run it on a spreadsheet or some other means if you want. But if you're going to try to run a real business, you have to have a CRM. There are a lot of choices out there. In my opinion, there's way too many CRMs to choose from. It makes it very difficult to make the decision. I spent about 3 months sorting through, doing trial periods for one after the other, and striking out on many of the other ones. And when I finally landed on REsimpli, it was a relief. It really was truly a relief. So um, I would say you have to have a CRM, and you've got to find one that works for you. And if you're looking for something that's streamlined, has a lot of functionality, and is simple to use and simple to train a VA to use, for me, the choice was obvious.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, anyone listening to this, if they want to connect with you, learn more about what you got going on, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I mean, they can reach me. I'm on, I guess, I don't do a lot of social media, but I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. I don't do a ton of social media. I've got
Okay.
a business website, but email. They can always email me if they want.
Okay. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. All right,
Okay.
Steve, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and thank you for sharing your feedback on REsimpli.